Arthur Antunes Coimbra was born on 3rd March 1953 in Rio de Janeiro. Better known as Zico, is a Brazilian coach and former footballer who played as an attacking midfielder. Often called the White Pele, he was a creative playmaker with excellent technical skills, vision, and an eye for goal, who is considered one of the most clinical finishers and best passers ever, as well as one of the greatest players of all time. With 68 goals in 94 official appearances for Brazil, Zico is 5th highest goal scorer for his national team. He represented them in the 1978, 1982 and 1986 World Cups. They did not win any of those tournaments, even though the 1982 squad is considered one of the greatest Brazilian national squads ever. Zico is often considered one of the best players in football history not to have been on a World Cup winning squad. He was chosen as the 1981 and 1983 Player of the Year. Zico has coached the Japanese national team, appearing in the 2006 FIFA World Cup and winning the Asian Cup 2004. He was announced as the head coach of CSKA Moscow in January 2009. On 16 September 2009, Zico was signed by Greek side Olympiacos for a 2-year contract after the club's previous coach Temuri Getspaya was sacked. He was fired 4 months later on 19 January 2010. Zico is Portuguese by origin. His father, Jose Antonio Coimbra, also Portuguese, came to Brazil at the age of 10. Zico's mother, Matilde Ferreira da Silva de Costa, was born in 1919. Zico was the youngest of 6 children. Born in 1953, Zico came from a lower middle-class family of Portuguese origin. In common with many young Brazilians, he spent much of his youth dreaming of being a professional footballer and skipped school to play football on the streets. His passion for the sport made him famous in the neighborhood, where people would gather to see the boy's brilliant performances against older children and teenagers. At that time, he was playing for Juventude, a local futsal street team run by his older brothers and friends, and had also begun to play for futsal club River Football Club on Sundays. His nickname originated in Zico's own family after increasingly shorter versions of Arthur Sinho, which means Little Arthur, and then to Zico, and finally Zico, a version created by his cousin Ermelindo. In 1967, at 14 years old, he had a scheduled trial at America where his brothers were professional players, but on a Sunday during a river match, Zico scored 9 goals and caught the attention of a radio reporter who asked Zico's father to take him to a trial at Flamengo instead. Being a Flamengo fan, Zico had his father's approval, beginning his path towards becoming one of the most admired players in the history of the sport. Zico was not physically strong, and his story of determination and discipline began with a heart, muscle, and body development program conducted by the physical education teacher. A combination of hard work and also a special diet sponsored by his team enabled Zico to develop a strong body and become an athlete. This later proved to be essential for his success. During 1971 and 1972, he shifted from youth to professional team and back. Coach Fleitas had confidence in Zico's abilities and promoted him. On the other hand, the situation changed when the Paraguayan coach left and Scala took over. He believed Zico to be too young and sent him back to the youth team. Things only improved for Zico when Jobert, his first coach at the youth team, was appointed the new coach for the seniors and fully promoted him after 116 matches and 81 goals in the youth team. Zico had an amazing club career. He was part of Flamengo from 1971 to 1983, Udinese 1983 to 1985, back to Flamengo 1985 to 1989, Kashima Antlers 1991 to 1994. While at Flamengo, Zico was a key player during the most glorious period of the team's history. On the field, Zico made goals in all imaginable ways, also was a great assister and team organizer, and was known for his excellent vision on the field. He was a two-footed player and an expert at free kicks. While at Udinese, he would be punctuated by injuries and suspensions for openly attacking referees. He also used to complain about the board's lack of ambition for not signing competitive players, which the team made too dependent on him. He became a fan favorite with his spectacular goals and is still adored by all Udinese fans. When he was back to Flamengo, after a month of his returning, he suffered a severe knee injury after a violent tackle from Bangu's defender Marcio Nunes, which interrupted his career for several months. Things improved for Zico in 1987 when he led Flamengo to the Copa Union title. December 1989 marked Zico's last official appearance for Flamengo in a Brazilian national championship match against rivals Fluminense. Zico scored the first goal and Flamengo won the match 5-0. His discipline, talent and professionalism meshed very well with Japanese culture, and his influence earned him a nickname from Japanese football fans. He became a local legend in Japan for having built a contender from almost nothing and putting the city of Kashima on the map. A statue in his honor stands outside Kashima Soccer Stadium. Zico had a very good international career. He made his international debut at the South American qualifier to the 1972 Summer Olympics, playing 5 matches and scoring the qualifying goal against Argentina. Despite this fact, he wasn't called up to the Munich Games. He felt extremely frustrated and told his father in dismay he wanted to stop playing football. He was even absent from training at Flamengo for 10 days, being later convinced otherwise by his brothers. In the opening match of 1978 World Cup against Sweden, Zico headed a corner kick into the goal in the final minute of the match, apparently breaking a 1-1 tie. However, in a call that became infamous, referee Clive Thomas disallowed the goal, saying that he had blown the whistle to end the match while the ball was still in air from corner. In the second round, he scored a penalty in a 3-0 win over Peru. Zico eventually won a bronze medal with Brazil at the tournament, defeating Italy in the third place final. Zico also won another bronze medal with Brazil in the 1979 Copa America. The 1982 World Cup would see Zico as part of a fantastic squad side by side. In spite of his 4-goal and the great amount of skill in the squad, the team was defeated 3-2 by Paolo Rossi and Italy in the final match of the second round group stage. He played in the 1986 FIFA World Cup while still injured and only appeared as a second-half substitute throughout the tournament. Having been cleared of all the tax evasion charges by Italian officials in 1988, Zico decided to pay a tribute to the the city that had madly welcomed him 6 years before, and played his farewell match, losing 1-2 to a World Stars team at Stadio Friuli. A classic number 10, Zico usually played as an attacking midfielder, although he was capable of playing in several other attacking and midfield positions, and was also deployed as a central midfielder, as a second striker or inside forward, or even as an outright forward. He is regarded as one of the greatest footballers of all time. A diminutive player with a small, slender physique, although he was naturally right-footed, he was essentially a two-footed player who was known for his flair, speed, exceptional technique, ball control and dribbling skills, as well as his use of tricks and feints to beat opponents with the ball. Despite his ability, his career was plagued with injuries. Zico's managerial career started with Japan. After the 2002 FIFA World Cup, Japan Football Association looked for a replacement of the previous manager and chose Zico as a successor. Despite his lack of coaching experience besides his stint as Brazil's technical coordinator during the 1998 World Cup, Zico had a great understanding of Japanese soccer from his playing days and his role as Kashima's technical director. Despite the rocky start, injuries to key players, and even a bizarre offer from Gulf Town, Zico led Japan to its third World Cup finals appearance and the third Asian Cup title in 4 tries. Japan failed to win a single match at the finals, losing twice to Australia and Brazil, and drawing once to Croatia and scoring just 2 goals while conceding 7. He resigned from Japan at the end of World Cup campaign. Zico was given a new nickname by Fenerbahce fans, Kral Arthur, which means King Arthur in Turkish, for the team's nickname King Arthur and his knights. He was a manager of PFC CSKA Moscow. Zico signed a contract with Iraq Football Federation on 28 August 2011 and first managed the national team in a match against Jordan on 2 September 2011. Zico resigned as coach of the Iraqi national team on 27 November 2012 after little more than a year in the post, saying the country's football association had failed to fulfill the terms of his contract. He had 10 wins and 6 draws in 21 games with Iraq. 6 August 2013, he signed a 2-year deal to coach Al Gharafa, a Qatari club. Indian Super League side FC Goa signed Zico as a coach for the debut season in 2014. Though Goa had a slow start to the season, they ultimately qualified for the semi-finals. In 2015, FC Goa did really well to reach the final. Eventually, Goa lost 3-2. In January 2017, FC Goa confirmed ending their 3-year association with Zico. Keeping the logistical challenges of the upcoming season in mind, the two parties amicably came to this decision. Arguably the world's best player of the late 1970s and early 80s, he is regarded as one of the best players and free kick specialists in history, able to bend the ball in all possible directions. In 1999, Zico came 8th in the FIFA Player of the Century Grand Jury vote, and in 2004 was named the FIFA 100 list of the world's greatest living players. He currently works as the technical